thank you, Ate Kat, for, I just want to appreciate you once again na, ay nga, for the opportunity and the privilege na you have given to me to share my testimony nitong, back then when I was a student. Well, technically student pa rin ako. Later, we'll find out why. Yun. So, I'm very excited for this day talaga to come. Actually, since the day na nag-start, what do you call that? I mean, minessage ako ni Ate Kat if I could be the speaker for one of ay nga, event na Ate Kat is initiating for the students, for the young women. Sabi ko, sige, go. Without even like thinking kung yung schedule ko ba ay okay sa month na to or what. Pero sabi ko, anything na ano na God would have given me as a chance to share His word and to meet new students, since those are the things that I am really uh, passionate about. So I want to introduce first myself. Next slide. Oh yeah. Oh, okay. So ayun, you can just call me Ate Stacy. Yun lang. Very laid back. Actually, people like calling me Ate Stacy because sa school, uh, I am used to be called by Miss Stacy or Mom Stacy. So, next slide. So, I want to, part of introducing myself first is, of course, I want to introduce my family. I have 4 kuyas. So, ako ang bunso, ako ang nag-iisang, what do you call that? My nickname is Princess. Napakalayo sa Stacy kong pangalan, no? Maybe because, ay nga, ako lang yung nag-iisang babae sa aming magkakapatid. Then, these are my parents. I call them Momsy and Popsy. Then, eto, yung picture sa baba, that's my kuya and his wife. Then, yung pinakaunang apo sa family is, her name is Felicia. Then, next slide po. Okay, oops. Okay, so there. So, ayan. Her name is Felicia. Usually, 'di ba kapag nagpapakilala, actually nung gumagawa ako nitong slides kanina umaga, natatawa ako in a sense na normally when speakers would introduce themselves, 'di ba, they would show their family, tas later sa pinakadulo, ito yung family ko, my own. Pero since wala pa, I am happily single. Happily single. Ayun, I am a proud tita. I really reserve this slide na to show my lovely niece. Her name is Felicia, and she's really one of our greatest blessings nung time na dumating siya sa life namin. So, ayun, sige. Let's proceed. Yeah, when Ate Kat has asked me to speak nga, then the topic is about sharing our faith, then about life. One thing that really comes first to my mind is, sabi ko, God, parang no need for me to really think about it kung ay nga, kung mag-yes ako or no. Because nandun lang talaga din yung joy to just really say yes dun sa call, knowing na whatever opportunities naman that comes in my way about these things, I know that it comes from God. So I am thankful for the privilege that God has given to me through Ate Kat and her team to share my testimony, because this yung season ko as a student from the past few years, these are the most treasured season na masasabi ko sa life ko. Well, hindi pa naman ako ganun katanda. Papasa pa rin ako mukhang estudyante, tama. Well, Ayun nga masasabi ko na talagang sabi ko, "God, yung season ko bilang estudyante, eto talaga yung sabi ko na talagang for keeps and lahat ng, bagay helped me to be the woman that I am now where when, well, I am not perfect, 'di ba? Pero yung masasabi ko na yung mga natutunan ko that really has helped me, kung saan ako dinala ni God right now, those are the things that I learned when I was a student. So, actually, when I was preparing this for this, talk, although Ate Kat has, given me the time na ahead of time pa. So, na-set aside ko siya. O, 'di ba? I was na-set aside ko siya kasi ay nga, napakahirap ng load ng work, lately. By the way, I work as a guidance coordinator. I am almost 2 years now in the ministry. I call it ministry pa din. Yun, I work as a guidance coordinator at the same time a senior high school teacher, associate focus sa subjects ng Hume strand. So, uh, even though I meet students almost every day sa classes or sa consultation, sabi ko nga kay Ate Kat kanina, it's a very refreshing time na I would be able to meet some students as well sa ganitong platform, knowing na, ay nga, it's free of academic related stuff, but at the same time, nandun pa rin yung theme, knowing na we're talking about God, we're talking about faith and the student life. So, kagabi ko lang talaga siya pinrepare. I was really tired. Very honest, no? I was really tired. Sabi ko, God, iba yung pagod ko kahapon. Na, alam mo yun, like, even though you're just working from home, sabi ko, God, iba yung pagod ko kahapon. And though I am excited to have this day, talaga na, ay nga, dumating na. Sabi ko, God, hindi ako prepared, ganyan. But I consider still as a blessing. Why? Kasi nung time na I'm done with everything, with the work that I need yesterday, the spirit is just telling me na, ay nga, just rest with me. Pahinga ka lang sa akin. And yung pinaka-instruction talaga sa akin ni God, like, simula pa nung time na sinabihan ako ni Ate Kat to share, to speak. God's word for me is to just really listen. Listen, listen, listen. Yun lang. So sabi ko, okay God, wala akong kailangan gawin but to just really listen. And that's what I did last night na, ay nga, after family time, after everything, sabi ko, God, I want to intentionally spend this time to rest and to just really listen to you. What's your word? And that time, last night for me was puno na, well, puno siya talaga ng ugly cries. Yung mga time na, ay nga, you gonna spend time with God. I thank God because that time for me was refreshing. At the same time, I feel like I was emptied first, all of my concerns, all of my burdens, and I see God's beauty and power in that. Kasi if I would if I would keep myself occupied na, "Oh, I have a talk tomorrow, wala pa akong kailangan gawin," ganyan. Parang it for me, it speaks of na I'm worrying how I would come off as a speaker. For me, one thing that I am reminded as well is that when I am given a chance or opportunity to minister to other people, God is concerned as well to me first, 'di ba? Like God is concerned kung my well-being and all, na ako din muna yung makaka-receive ng word niya. Ako muna first hand makaka-experience kung ano yung i-share, and knowing na if say kasi actually atong time na to, I am pretty much reminded of the time na I was invited as well back then when I was a student. A classmate of mine, I could speak sa anniversary ng church nila. I think it was 3 years ago ata. It's a local church in Cabuyao. Then, sa I was tempted that time na gagamit na lang ako ng VG material. I don't know if you're familiar with that. Like, kumbaga para siyang Bible study na outline na siya talaga. Sabi ko, God, ginagamit magagamit natin 'to every week, 'di ba? Kumbaga prepared na, aaralin ko na lang din yung word and all. Pero iba, eh, iba yung instruction ni God, iba yung spirit that God told me that time to just listen as well, Stacy. All the things that you would share, it would really come directly from me. So that has happened, that was happened last night. So it's me resting with God and all, worship, ganyan. And I was amazed kasi nung time na, ay nga, I was just really alone with God. Those things, uh, the ideas and all just flow naturally. And I am very much excited to share that with you this afternoon. So, yeah. Next slide. Nung ay na, nung nagpe-pray ako, so to that, I was just really listening. Yung word na pumasok sa isip ko, I was asking God, God, ano message mo, ay nga, for us tomorrow? Ano yung heart ninyo para sa mga students? Ganyan, what do you want for us to receive tomorrow? The very word na malinaw na pumasok sa isip ko right away is disappointment. Sabi ko, God, what about disappointment? Parang, kumbaga, parang first slide, tapos ito yung makikita mo, parang very not encouraging. Di ba? Parang disappointment. God, what do you want to talk about disappointment? But one thing that I want to acknowledge as well before digging in further is that I want to acknowledge how is right now na maging estudyante. Tama ba? Knowing na ay nga it's pandemic, we're all forced to adapt, to adjust sa isang sistema na hindi tayo sanay. Well, online classes have been available sa maraming school, sa ilang school dito sa Philippines, but it's not really the traditional way that Filipino students learn, right? So it's not just the teachers, but as well, most especially the students who's having a hard time talaga adjusting through these online classes. So, well, some students, I don't know if the students that are here with us right now, ay nga kayo, I'm not sure if lahat kayo din ay enrolled or not, 'di ba? Because there are students as well who were forced because of their situation na mag-stop muna, 'di ba? Mag-take ng gap year because of financial difficulties and uh, it's really difficult na, alam mo yun, nandun yung desire mo mag-aral, nandun yung desire mo na ay nga to continue, but there are situations in life na ay nga masasabi natin na disappointments siya, life's disappointments natin siya. And I know that each one of you have your own disappointments that you have experienced through this pandemic and maybe still experiencing now. And primarily, syempre, being a student. So, kung dati, kasi pinipicture out ko siya, hindi ko pwede sabihin na, ay nga, I may had a hard time nung estudyante ako. Kumbaga parang, what do you call this? Even though some people would say that they prefer online classes kasi nasa bahay lang, ganyan. Pwedeng pumasok sa klase nang hindi naliligo. May mga ganun ako estudyante. Pero actually, mahirap siya. Kasi from my point of view, kasi 'di ba pag nasa school ka, at least you get to break away from all the responsibilities sa bahay kahit papaano. Lalo na if there are situations in life na yung family, 'di ba, are the reason sometimes, well, sadly, kung bakit tayo ay nga nalulungkot, kung bakit tayo nadi-disappoint, kumbaga mga family problems. And most of the time, bilang estudyante, kapag papasok tayo, yun na lang yung pahinga natin na ay nga nakakaalis tayo sa bahay, 'di ba, to be with our friends. And because of this pandemic, because of our situation, kumbaga nawala yung part na yun somehow sa atin. So even though you're still ay nga nasa bahay kayo, nasa comforts ng sarili ninyong bahay, there are still things na you cannot do right now and it's difficult. And we know and we acknowledge and we understand that part. And I just want to highlight as well na just because you are a student. Well, there are I keep on sometimes I hear this na kumbaga lalo na sa, I don't know if you know the term boomers. Yung mga mas matatanda, 'di ba? Na parang estudyante ka lang naman. I mean, wala ka namang ibang gagawin, mag-aral ka lang, ganyan, 'di ba? May internet ka naman, may baon ka naman. Parang I believe not because you are a student, things are easier for you. 'Di ba? Knowing na ah kumbaga iba yung pressure ng pagiging estudyante ngayon eh. Like, kung noon, what do you call that, mas simple yung buhay. Kumbaga sa mga panahon ng mommy, daddies natin. Yung mga linya, kaya naintindihan ko rin sila kapag nagsasabi sila na, nung panahon namin, ganito, ganyan. 'Di ba? Though, it's painful as well sometimes to hear that, na, ay nga, na kumbaga nade-devalue yung struggles na na-experience ng mga estudyante din ngayon. So I hope that ay nga right now you would feel then somehow that your struggles, your disappointments are being acknowledged, and it's normal if ngayon is ongoing na yung classes nyo, then you're still struggling to adapt, to adjust. I just want to let you know as well na ay nga, it's okay to feel that way. As no one is don't allow like the situation or other people to pressure you na second quarter na, patapos na yung term or what, dapat nakapag-adjust ka na and all. So I hope na ay nga you would relieve yourself of that burden, of that anxiety, yung pressure to really adapt right away. Kasi ay nga, all of us din naman talaga ay nahihirapan. So, I want to as well to to thank you, each one of you, kasi just like what Ate Kat has mentioned, you guys could have been spending your time with other things right now. Kasi sa school ngayon, medyo talagang ngarag yung mga estudyante kasi kumbaga parang patapos na yung first quarter namin. So, maraming nagka-catch up sa requirements. So, I really want to appreciate each one of you na ay nga, you chose to spend your time with us right now. So, uh, disappointment. Going back with God last night. Sabi ko, God, what about with disappointment? Sabi ko, we all know what the word disappointment means, 'di ba? Like, uh, and what it is for each one of you. Pero, sabi ko, guys, sige, I got my phone, tapos ginoogle search ko siya. Next slide, please. Ayan. So, sabi ko, ano ba ibig sabihin ng disappointment? Wait. So, sabi ni Uncle Google, mhm, okay. So, search for the word. Ay nga, it shows that disappointment means that it's sadness or displeasure caused by the non-fulfillment of one's hopes or expectations. Very similar to feelings of sadness, regret, dismay, or sorrow. And disappointment can also be a person, event, or thing that can cause that certain phenomena of or what they call disappointment. And it's a lot similar as well to the words failure, letdown, non-event, and so on and so forth. So kagabi tinititigan ko lang siya. Sabi ko, okay, disappointment. Sabi ko, God, what about disappointment? Tapos, the idea kicks in. Ayan, the idea kicks in later on. Nasabi ko, kasi nung nagpe-prepare ako, sabi ko, God, paano ko ipapasok yung testimony ko, paano ko ipapasok yung ganito, ganyan. Totoo yung sabi ni Ate Kat, ang challenging talaga when it comes to speakers is to really outline your your message. Like, you don't want to compromise other things, but at the same time, how would it look like structured? So, tinititigan ko lang siya. Next slide po. Ano sabi ko, God, what about disappointment? So, 'di ba, this word, this is one particular word na no one of course is asking for it. No one is wishing na this would come or this would happen to your life or even to your loved ones, 'di ba? But in reality, no one is excused. No one is excused to experience these things. As long as we're still here in this, no matter how maybe you came from a well-off family or not, uh, every one of us are not excused to or not spared to experience disappointments in life, and it would come off to different types. Yan, crisis, hardship, disappointments pa lang bilang estudyante. Marami na tayong pag-uusapan diyan, 'di ba? And ay nga, I was reminded of my own disappointments nung panahon na estudyante ako. Mainly nitong college ako. So, and looking back, sabi ko, what happened ba during my student life? Well, growing up, just to give an idea kung paano din ako lumaki. Well, I came from a Christian family na I was pinalaki ako in a community na ay nga sanay kumbaga typical na bahay, school lang, tas church lang. Ganyan na parang at young age alam ko na kung ano yung mga story sa Bible, ganyan and all. Nagme-memorize na ako ng mga verse, ganyan. But it was hard for me. So, kumbaga parang typical Stacy na any parents would be proud of. Kasi yung ay nga kasi nung time na yon parang mahiyain pa ako. As in like parang walang masasabing hindi maganda sa akin ng aking parents. Napaka-obedient. Growing up, I was an excellent student. Yan, grade school, high school. Things went different nung college. Kasi of course knowing na since kayo naman ay youth na ganyan and maybe some of you guys are already college, yung season bilang estudyante sa ganyang edad, yan yung kasi, well, as for example, as a psychology major, kumbaga sa psychosocial stage, yan yung stage wherein you are seeking for identity, like you wanted to know who you really are. At the same time, you want to, alam mo yun, get along with your friends. So, even though this is the person that you really are right now, like ito yung values mo, ito yung mahalaga sa'yo, ganyan, at ganito ka pinalaki ng magulang mo, kumbaga may dilemma na gusto mong makasabay kung ano yung flow ng mundo, ng mga friends mo, ano yung trip nila. So, that's what happened to me nung college. Ang first course ko nung college, by the way, is accountancy. Okay? That was the first course na tinake ko. Well, it is a very long narrative, and Atikat knows that very well. And ang first course ko is accounting. I chose it not because gusto ko siya talaga, but because that's what my parents wanted for me. Okay? wala, wala muna mag-ship. Disclaimer. So, yun ang first course ko. So, kahit hindi ko siya gusto, kasi nung time na nag-graduate ako ng high school, parang kahit ang kino-consider ko na course noon, ABCom, psych, then ganyan. Pero hindi talaga malinaw sa akin. Parang sabi ko, ano bang gusto ko talagang kuhanin, ganyan. Parang the context of being in college still frustrated me that time na parang hindi ko rin alam kung anong pipiliin kong course. So, kung ano yung sinabi sa akin ng parents ko that time, sabi ko, sige, go. Yun. So, I ended up taking accounting for 3 years. For 3 years. Di ba? Kaisipin, almost graduation na. But, that was the time as well na sabi ko, God, hindi ko siya gusto. May mga nights na talagang iniiyak ko siya kay God. Sabi ko, God, kaya naman. Though hindi kami best friend ng math, I admit that. Hindi kami talaga best friend ng math. Pero sabi ko, God, kaya siya. Pero hindi ko nakikita yung sarili ko, God, na ito yung bagay na ipupursue ko or kumbaga gagawin kong magiging career ko someday. So, then nung time na nagkaroon ako ng subject na psychology, kasi that's really a prerequisite subject, kumbaga sa college, 'di ba? Kumbaga parang yun yung isa yun sa pinaka-general subject. Nung nagka-subject ako ng psychology, dun ako na-in love talaga. Na sabi ko, God, yun, dun pa ako sinisipag pumasok, di ba? Na parang kahit irregular student ako noon and all, sabi ko, sabi ko, God, ito yung gusto ko. Nandito yung joy ko, God, and all. So, one particular night, sabi ko, God, help me to tell my parents. Imagine, 3 years ka na. Gagraduate ka na. Tapos gusto ko pa mag-shift ng course. I am really close with I'm close naman, both sa parents ko. Pero mas open ako kay mama. So, I ended up talking to my mom. Sabi ko, syempre, ano yun, emotional yun talaga na usapan. Sabi ko, ma, gusto ko mag-psych, ganyan, ganyan, and all. I was surprised. Well, I believe that will din talaga ni God yun. Kasi wala akong narinig sa mom ko that time. But really, sige, kausapin natin si papa mo. Imagine. Sabi ko, God, I didn't expect that na, ay nga, napapayag din si mama, susuportahan ako. Kasi kung ako din yung magulang, nakatatlong taong ka na, ganyan. Tapos gusto mo pa mag-shift and all. So sabi ko, God, kayo na bahala. Kumbaga, if this is though I believe, I'm trying to recall, wala pa akong ganitong mga narrative sa isip ko that time, na parang, God, if will mo to, ganyan. Pero I felt that time na sabi ko, gusto ko lang talaga mag-psych. May rason kung ba't gusto ko mag-psych. So I ended up na kasama si mama, na kinausap namin si papa na mag-shift ako ng course. Tahimik lang si papa that time. Then, after few minutes and all, pumayag si Papa na sabi, sige, go. Then, I was studying sa isang school pa, different from the college na nag-graduate ako. So, it's SPAC ba, sa San Pedro pa siya. Then, sabi ni Mama, sige, mag-shift ka ng course, supportahan ka namin ni Papa mo. Tapos, transfer ka na din ng school. Kasi, yung school na from where I graduate from is University of Perpetual Health Laguna or PERPS, usually known as PERPS, ganyan, sa Binyan. So, yun yung school kasi na nag-graduate din yung mga kuyas ko. Well, hindi nila kasi ako din pinayagan na mag-aral in Manila. Diba? Napaka-sheltered ko as a bunso. I don't know. That's me growing up. Na parang, ay nga, hindi rin nila ako pinayagan mag-college in Manila. So, kung nasa area ka ng Santa Rosa, Binyan, usually perps talaga, perps ang bagsak ng mga estudyante. I ended up, but I believe na there's a reason why God has led me there to that campus, not because doon nag-aral yung mga kuya ko. So, fast forward, I think that's 2016, 2016 or 2015. I'm not sure with the year already. Ayun, I ended up studying psychology, BS Psychology. Okay. So, okay pa yon nung time, yeah, first years, ganyan, first year and all. But, the going back with the word disappointment na, syempre, I was, ano na ako nun, like, kumbaga, yun yung time na na-experience ko tong dilemma, internal dilemma sa akin, na as a Christian, eto ako as a Christian, but at the same time, I am struggling as well to be friends with other people. Kumbaga parang living a double-edged life or double life as a Christian. Kumbaga parang lukewarm Christian pa ako this time. And eto din kasi yung time na lumipat kami ng bahay. So, from the community na I was in touch with the church and all, kumbaga parang it's hard for me na, ay nga, nawala rin ako sa youth group and all. Kumbaga parang this was the time as well na yung family ko is more on nag-experience ng spiritual dryness, ganyan. So, I am not blaming what happened to me with the people or with the situation that I was in, but mainly it's because of my own choices that led me to this situation as well. Uh, hindi ako nakagraduate right away, mainly because of my disobedience as well. To give you a point, to give you a summary already, I ended up being in college for 9 years. Okay. Diba? Nag-masteral na ako. So, uh, nung time na yon din, nung nasa perps na ako. Well, I hope that it would not give an impression na kapag nasa perps ka, ganito yung mangyayari sa'yo. Well, it's my choice pa din. Ganyan. Ito yung time na ah, na-enjoy ko mag-spend sa mga friends ko, na umiinom kami, ganyan. Hindi naman ako si party girl, ganyan. Kasi growing up, reserved talaga ako, shy. Kumbaga, more on introverted self. Kapag kung sino yung click ko, doon ako mas open. So, nire-rationalize ko pa yung mga bad behavior ko noon na, ay nga, hindi naman ako nakikipag-party sa labas and all. Ganyan. So, doon sumasama ako sa mga nagiinuman, ganyan, and all. But I know, in my heart that time na hindi siya tama. So, syempre, alam din ng mga tao sa paligid ko na Christian ako. Diba? Parang, the only confidence that I have right now, kaya maybe because maybe you are disappointed as well. Nasabi ko nga, God, I am ready to disappoint my audience. Na if you're expecting someone to speak na talking about Akad's life niya na ay nga graduated with Latin honors and all excellent. Well, we admire those kind of people, but the reason that I can stand here or kumbaga speak with so much confidence in front of you is knowing that all these things that has happened to me, God has redeemed my story and it has become my strength as well na I got to share it as a testimony. So that time that happened to me, ang dilemma ko noon ay I was very looking back trying to remember the person that I was. I was a Christian, but there are things that are not yet clear to me. Kumbaga, hindi pa ako ganun ka-secured sa relationship ko. Hi God, hindi pa ako secured sa kung ano yung identity ko. Hi God, alam ko na, ay nga, trust God, have faith, but it doesn't really pierce to my heart. Kumbaga, hindi ko siya ino-own pa. Kumbaga, parang alam mo yun, coming from a background na, ay nga, bata pa lang ako, nag-aaral na ako ng Bible and all. Pero na-realize ko, hindi siya nagmi-minister sa akin. Not because God's word is not powerful, but alam mo yun, yung parang hindi ko pa siya talaga, hindi siya talaga sa life ko that time. Like, it was not yet real to me. Sabi ko, parang, I know what I should do, but I am not doing it. I was prideful also that time na uh, medyo sassy pa yung Stacy na yun eh. Na parang, ay nga, I know what I want. Every time na pagpapasok ako sa school, kahit irregular student ako, to be honest, kasi since late enrollee ako, parang ako pa yung may angst na kahit, what do you call that, kahit irregular student ako. Usually before kasi kahit ireg ka, lalo na yung tropahan namin, kami pa yung medyo kapag papasok kami yung mean girls. Oo, I admit. Parang ganong vibes. Pero hindi naman yung sobrang tawag na naglo-look down. Pero kumbaga yung ganong angas na parang I don't know if you know this term, IDGAF. Yung I don't give a fudge personality. Ganun ang mindset ko noon. And if may eto yung sinabi ko din kay Ate Kat noon, na parang kapag may subject na doesn't interest me or it doesn't excite me, hindi ko siya pinapasukan. Like, syempre natural na estudyante ka, papasukan mo yung subjects mo, 'di ba? Pero that time, sabi ko, God, wala, I was too distracted na parang, "Ay naku papasok pa hahabol na lang ako sa midterm," ganyan. Tas may naka-relate, hahabol na lang ako. Tas parang feeling ko ang babata pa ng mga kaklase ko, ganyan. Although ka-edad ko naman, 'di ba? Like, imagine the pride that was in my heart and in my head. I was so full of myself. Yeah. So, nung time na yon, baka ma-conflict, baka ano kayo, tawag nun, maguluhan kayo sa flow ng buhay ko. Actually, si Ate Kat nung kinukuwentuhan ko 'to, I believe she got the same ano, the same vibes. Pero looking back, naguguluhan din ako sa buhay ko. Pero sabi ko, God, ang galing niyo talaga. Kayo lang talaga yung naggawa ng way to redeem everything about that. Nung time na yun as well, na ano na ako, na-engage na ako sa Victory, sa youth. Dati hindi pa siya ENC. Naku, lumalabas yung edad ko. Life box pa lang siya. So, kung ngayon kasi, kumbaga parang ang Victory Group more on what do you call this, sa girls and sa boys separate. Noon, ano pa yan, what do you call this, sama-sama pa. So, I was being active as a student, uh, leader, ganyan, intern. At the same time, may part ako na, alam mo yun, na parang, ay nga, may time na hindi pa rin ako pumapasok, ganyan, and all. Though, nandyan yung time na I am being really convicted of the life that I am living. Tapos nag-one-to-one na ako and all. Pero itong, parang kumbaga looking back, I believe my heart became callous na of my continuous disobedience as well. But as well, looking back, I believe what made me behave that way is my unbelief. Yung unbelief ko na, alam mo yun, yung masyado kong binak si God na, God can fix my finances, God can work in my family, God can work in this aspect of my life. Pero when it comes to ACADS, ang ironic na bakit hindi ko mapaniwalaan si God na kumbaga, yung parang hindi ko ma-claim fully that God can minister to me, God can make sense, or God can change my life as a student. Kasi nung time na parang sobra-sobra na, nasabi ko, God, tinitingnan ko yung curriculum ko. Ang dami, ang dami kong bagsak. Maybe, ay nga, out of 7 subjects or what, ilan lang yung pinasa ko and all. 4 lang, ganyan. Tapos may time as well na my professors wanted to talk to me na. Kasi nakilala nila ako na ganito, ganyan. Na ay nga, kumbaga they saw the potential in me. Pero sinasayang ko lang yung oras ko, yung panahon ko bilang estudyante. Sinasayang ko what do you call this, sinasayang ko yung pera ng magulang ko nung time na yun, ganyan. Pero sabi ko, God, bakit alam mo yun, yung gusto kong magbago, gusto kong magtinuna that time. Pero sabi ko, God, hindi ko siya kaya, hindi ko kayang magawa. Not until this time na, what, maybe it's around 2018, 27, late 2017, there's this particular semester na mag-enroll na ulit. Na sabi ko, God, pagod na ako. During that time as well, ang daming nangyari sa life ko na I believe God allowed those things to happen to really get my attention. Na Stacy, tama na yung routine mo na ganyan and all that. I have called you to go in a separate path. God, yung group of friends ko that time, there's a conflict that has happened that made us separate our kumbaga ay nga separate our ways. So inalis ni God yung mga friends ko na yun. Tapos I was in a relationship as well that time. I was in a relationship, imagine a Christian girl being in a relationship with an atheist guy. Mainly because I like that guy because he's smart, he's pa-mysterious, yung mga ganon. So even though dun ako kasi looking back, dun ako talaga drawn, dun ako attracted. So, sabi ko, God, of all the things that I should look for a guy, yung pinabayaan ko na factor is ay nga, 'di ba? Parang natutunan ko na noon. Kumbaga parang the ates who are investing in my life growing up pa, na-instill na sa akin na it's important as well na ay nga it's difficult, kumbaga it's dangerous to have a relationship or what they call that, yung be in union kahit boyfriend girlfriend relationship lang yan pag magkaiba ng faith. Pero ay nga, I was so hard-headed, I was so stubborn na those I allowed those things because gusto ko lang. So, looking back, ang daming sakit sa ulo na binigay ko sa parents ko and disappointment. So, the very word na ayoko mangyari sa sarili ko, na ayoko ma-experience ng parents ko, looking back, sabi ko, God, I became that word to them. I was very disappointed with myself. I was very disappointed. Nung time na it was really hitting me hard already. Sabi ko, God, parang iniyak ko na siya talaga kay God. Sabi ko, God, pagod na ako. Yun yung, I think yun yung isa sa mga iyak ko talaga na, because there were days na, alam mo yun, nasanay ako na matutulog ako, may Bible sa gilid ko. Pero wala lang sa akin, ganyan. Because sobrang fixated ko na ito yung na ay nga masyadong matigas yung ulo ko that time. Pero not until that night, maybe not maybe, but I believe God really intervened with everything that's going on with my life that time, that night. I really just cried it all to God. Sabi ko, God, pagod na ako. Kasi parang pakiramdam ko, ay nga, nagiging hypocrite ako sa sarili ko, tsaka sa ibang tao. I am not being real with myself. Imagine I was leading a victory group as well that time. I was considered already as a student leader that time, but I was living this kind of life. And as well at the same time, nung looking back, the reason na ganun din yung naging habit ko was I was so fixated with being a student leader na instead of me attending my classes pag may mga ganap sa campus ministry, mas dun ako hype. Well, it's good na ay nga, committed tayo sa work ni God, sa mga ministry. But one thing that God has taught me that time as well, the first thing that should be our priority while we are a student, maging estudyante talaga. Maging fully committed dun sa season natin, being a student. Knowing that if you would choose man din na mag-aral pa after graduation or what, unique and special yung season natin bilang estudyante. So, if God would call us in a season na ay nga, or God would give us opportunity to lead or to be in a ministry, I hope na it would be a reminder for us as well not to get in the way na nakakompromise natin yung akads natin. Na ay nga, maybe, and I believe that is one of the dangers of being in a ministry while being a student, na parang baka masyado nating minamahal na yung ministry na nakakalimutan or kinakalimutan natin yung calling, yung unang calling din sa atin ni God, which is, ay nga, to be a student. Kasi may time na parang gusto ko umattend ay ng youth service and all, pero may klase. Ang pipiliin ko, ate daw ng youth service. Di na ako pumapasok sa subject ko na yun kasi 6 to 7 yun. Yung mga ganong choices in life. Pero sabi ko, God, that night, God really convicted of my sins, of my shortcomings. Sabi ko, God, pagod na rin ako. Kasi, ay nga, gusto kong maayos to, pero all the efforts I am trying to do na maayos yung buhay ko, it is not enough. Parang ay nga, parang ako lang yung nasisiraan ng bait, something like that, or ako yung nai-stress na trying to patch up all these things, ganyan. But I believe that time God wanted me, ang instruction niya sa akin that time after ako talaga like really chose to surrender everything kay God. God instructed me to share or to confess my sin, to open up to my ate, to my leader. And that time was Ate Nori. So, nung bago mag-youth service, I ended up talking to her that time. Kasi sabi ko, God, wala akong lakas ng loob. Gusto ko na agad mag-obey. Gusto ko na, ay nga, sabihin din siya sa parents ko. Pero hindi ko alam kung paano. Nung time na yon, ay nga, of course, Ate Nori was surprised and all. But then, she just prayed for me. And it was, sabi ko, God, just help me. Kayo na yung gumawa ng way na, ay nga, na maayos to. And of course, my expectation already is, syempre, magagalit ang magulang ko. 'Di ba? Sino ba naman ang hindi? Na more than and my parents na we are not very, alam mo yun, yung sakto lang. Hindi naman din kami mayaman, hindi naman din yung sobrang nag-struggle. Pero one thing that I really appreciate of my parents is that they would really do everything as I believe all parents do, 'di ba? Para sa anak nila. Gagawan nila ng paraan para makapag-aral lang sila, tayo. But then what did I did that time was the very thing that has broken their, yung trust na binigay nila sa akin. Kasi syempre, all they know is that nag-aaral ako mabuti, pinapasukan ko yung mga, what they call this, yung mga subjects ko. And they are not the kind of parents kasi na humihingi ng reflection at the end of the SEM, ganyan. So, not until that SEM, nung gabi na yon, sabi ko, God, kayo na bahala. Kasi the next day enrollment. Tapos, the next day, ang weird lang kasi normally 'pag nag-e-enroll ako lang talaga. So, binibigay lang sa'kin yung money. Pero that time, sumama yung parents ko. Sumama yung parents ko sa school. So, punta kami perps, kasama si mama sa department. So, usually kasi ang procedure diyan, bago ulit maka-enroll is, ay nga, ipiprint yung grade ng previous SEM para i-evaluate ni dean. Tapos nung na-print na, parang ayoko siya ibigay sa mama ko that time. Pero sabi ko, God, as in like nung nasa sasakyan kami, papunta kami sa school. Sabi ko, God, kayo nang bahala. Di ko alam, God, kung anong mangyayari. Pero kayo nang bahala. I am willing to, to really trust you and obey you this time. Kayo na pong bahala. How my parents would respond and all. Nung binigay ko yung papel kay mama, reflecting my grades, and that time as well, yun yung time na hirap kami when it comes to our finances. So, nung time na yun, nung binigay ko yung papel ng grades ko, talagang nanghina si mama. Like, she was silent that time. Nasa hallway kami ng school. Pero sinabi niya, tara, uwi na tayo. Ganyan. Tapos, nung nasa sasakyan kami, si mama kasi, she's very, emotional din as well. Pero yung papa ko, tahimik lang siya. Ganyan. Nung time na yun, naiyak na din ako, pero parang at the same time, wala akong karapatan na mas magdrama para compared sa magulang ko. Ganyan. So, nung time na yun, nakatira din pa kami sa Santa Rosa. Nung umuwi kami sa bahay sa Santa Rosa, nandun yung kuya ko and all. So, they talk to me. Nung time na yun, feeling ko, nasa hot seat ako talaga. Alam niyo yung situation na usually in-interrogate, yung may ilaw. Parang yun yung sitwasyon ko nung time na yun. Sabi ko. So, my parents were asking me na anong nangyari, ganyan, and all. Normal na narrative ng magulang na nasaktan because of the trust na binigay sa'yo, then sinira mo yun, na you disappoint them. And the very word na I can still remember, sabi ni mama, among us na magkakapatid, ako lang yung hindi niya ine-expect na, magloloko sa akin. Kasi gets niya na yun sa kuya ko. Mga kuya ko, mga pasaway din. I mean, not really pasaway, but they see me as, matalino, and all, sa simbahan, part ng church community. So sabi niya, parang, yung pakiramdam ni mama in her words, parang gumuho yung mundo niya that time. Na bakit daw, anong nangyari? And what's more painful is my parents asking themselves ano yung pagkukulang nila. And I think
I think that's the most hardest thing for me to hear that time. Na syempre nung time na yun, ayoko maramdaman, I don't want my parents to question themselves kung naging mabuti ba silang magulang o hindi. Kasi since the day that I was born, wala akong masasabi sa magulang ko, but really all props to them just to support me, just to provide for us na magkakapatid. But it was really my disobedience, choice ko na nag-lead sa ganong bagay. So sabi ko that time, sabi ko hindi na lang ako mag-aaral, ganyan. Sabi ko, stop na lang ako and all. Tapos may, syempre galit sila. Pero when all those anger subside already, those feelings of anger subside, ang sabi sa akin ng parents ko, sabi sa akin ni mama, may problema ka ba sa school? May prof ba tayo na need kausapin? May people ba na ay nga nakaka-affect sa studies mo, ganyan. Kausapin natin yung prof mo kung ano yung pwedeng gawin. Sabi ko, God, tawag na nung time na I was ready to give up on my ACADS, sabi ko pa nun, magtatrabaho na lang ako, magka-call center na lang ako. Maybe baka kung ano yung need ko matutunan, baka doon ko matututunan. Baka mag-mature na ako pag nagtrabaho lang ako. Ganun. Pero my parents told me, hindi, mag-aaral ka. Hindi ka mag stop ganyan. Hahanap kami ng paraan, ganyan. Tutulungan ka namin. Kung kailangan samahan kita para kausapin mo yung dean or yung prof, sasamahan kita. And hindi alam ni mama na I receive already like a notice sa department namin. Kasi pag masyadong marami yung bagsak mo, parang they would not allow you already to enroll. So, nung time na yon, nung nag-enroll kami the next uh, siguro kunyari Monday nangyari yun. Nung Wednesday bumalik kami sa school. Sinamahan ako ni mama to talk to RD and all. Tapos, I am amazed because sabi ko, God, when I was ready to give up on this part of my life, being a student, the people, kung sino pa yung mas na-disappoint ko, nasaktan ko, they are the people to not give, sila yung hindi na willing mag-give up sa akin. Like, I don't deserve this kind of love. I don't deserve this kind of parents. Kasi if I would maybe imagine, kung sa ibang magulang, yun yung na lang siguro, baka pinalayas na ako ng bahay. Kung baka, ay nga, tinakwil na ako. Pero sabi ko, God, grabe kayo. Kaya sabi ko, God, my parents will always be a tangible reflection of your love, of your grace sa akin. Na kahit, di ba, when we say grace, this is the very thing that God gives to us na hindi natin deserve. But because He loves us so much, He would do extra mile. God would do extra mile to redeem us. Na ibalik niya tayo. And nung time na no we talked to our dean to our dean, it went smooth. Everything. I don't know how, pero after that day, sabi ko, God, yung ramdam mo lang, yung favor ni God, na ikaw lang yung kinakabahan talaga. Ikaw lang talaga yung may fear na baka ganito yung mangyari and all. Pero looking back all along, kung kailangan kong kausapin yung ganito, si ganito, ganyan, lahat ng favor ni God nandun. And it just went smooth. God provided na makapag-aral ako ulit that time. But syempre, knowing na from there, hindi siya agad like right away okay na. Knowing na, ay nga, nasira ko yung tiwala ng parents ko. So, it's normal for them na paghigpitan ako lalo. So, nung time na yun kasi, dito na nag-work si Papa sa Cavite. So, andito sila sa farm. So at the place we live in right now, this is kumbaga parang partner sila nung boss niya. So may bahay na rin kami dito. So nung time na nakatira ako sa Santa Rosa sa bahay na siya ng kuya ko that time, my parents told me, dito ka na sa amin tumira. So imagine as well na nung time na yon, uh, uwian ako from Binyan, from Silang Cavite to my campus sa Binyan. Pero sabi ko, God, looking back, I wouldn't have it any other way. Kasi sabi ko, ito yung time na dapat nga hindi na ako dapat mag-aral and all. Pero sabi ko, God, sobrang amazing lang kayo how you redeem my story, how you change my heart. And first thing that I realized looking back, those disappointments and kung paano din siya nag-make sense sa akin kagabi. If you would look to this word, how this word is divided. If you would start with the meant, those things that has happened to my life, God used that. It was meant to point me up. Look, next slide po. Like, it is meant to point me up. Next. Yan. So all these disappointments that has happened to me, God used those things to point me back to God. Na ay nga, no matter how many disappointments I face, no matter how disappointment I've become that time, God still used that time to point me back to God. Na not just acknowledging that He is God, but really everything started to become alive in my life that time. And no matter how difficult it was for me to adjust, na nga, yung sa biyahe and all, sabi ko, God, mas nakikilala ko kayo talaga ngayon. Diba? Mas nakikilala ko kayo ngayon. Like, I feel like bagong puso, lahat. So that was the time as well na kaya nasabi ko ngayon na napaka-dear and precious sa akin nung season na yun. Kasi God really taught a lot of things to me, not just in theory, but He allowed me to experience that. God taught me to humble myself when I needed. Kasi imagine, yung mga kabatch ko talaga, graduate na sila. Yung supposedly na, ay nga, kasabayan ko, graduate na sila. So, syempre, yung mga bagsak kong subject, I have to uh, enroll myself to it again. So, yung mga kasabayan ko na doon noon, like, supposedly fourth year na ako, first year pa lang sila. So, sabi ko, mga mas bata pa sa akin talaga. If if not because of what God has did in my life, I would still be so insecure about this to tell this story. Pero hindi. Bakit? Kasi what do you call that? Knowing na God has redeemed that part of me already. It's not something that I should be ashamed about already. Kasi dati kapag usapang ACADS, kahit sa church pa lang, parang ramdam ko rin na, alam mo yun, na may tinatago ako. And I believe God used that time to minister as well to other like student leaders na let's just be real, parang something like that, na if you are struggling with your studies and all, we don't have to pretend like, I'm a student leader, I should have all things na okay dapat, alam mo yon, like all good palagi kasi student leader ka and all. People have these expectations of you, parang ganun. Pero hindi. Like, I openly shared what happened to me with the other student leaders sa church, or ay nga, yung sa mga friends ko from campus ministry. And I don't know, but God has used that as well to minister to their hearts. I don't know what they're experiencing that time. I'm not sure already. Hindi ko na maalala. Pero through that time as well na na-open up ko sa kanila, I don't know, God has used that to minister to some people as well. Na not because ay nga, you are a student leader or you have this certain image na you think you need to protect or maintain, 'di ba? Kasi ay nga, kumbaga parang it rob us of sa kung ano yung dapat gawin ni God sa life natin. Like kasi that time I was pretending who I should be dapat. No, nung time na yon, I was not really being real to myself. Like, how can God bless that part of my life kung tinatago ko siya? Looking back, how can God minister to my life kung hindi ko siya sinurrender kay God? Na maybe, baka hindi pa rin ako graduate. Or maybe, ay nga, walang nangyari. But all those things, it's not for my own effort. But really, when we surrender our life to God ulit, 'di ba? That's the moment that God can minister to us. That's the moment that God can do what he needs to do and what only he can do in our life. So uh next slide. So I am reminded of this verse. It's in Hebrews 12:1-2. It says there, therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us also lay aside every weight and sin which clings so closely, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us, looking to Jesus, the founder and perfecter of our faith. What does it says? And like when I would always come across this verse, I am just reminded to really just surrender my battles to God. It's like it's not about who you are, who you think you are. Just really surrender yourself to God. So what, like when I look to this verse, I can assess na God, ito yung ginawa mo sa part sa life ko that time. Like you made the way those times na hindi ko kaya ayusin yung life ko talaga. Well, never will I, or never will I can change or improve my life on my own. But when I chose to surrender everything to you, God, and just to really look to you, things started to fall into proper places. Like only God can really redeem us from our situation and our disappointments. So only God as well. Nung time din na yan, God instructed me to let go muna sa ministry, yung pag-lead, ganyan. Kasi He wanted me to really focus sa ACADS ko. So it was hard for me kasi ayun nga, gusto ko siya talaga. Hindi ako nakapag-youth service, hindi ako naka-attend ng victory group. But one thing that I really appreciate and in awe pa din sa wisdom ni God, He challenged my faith even more to seek Him directly. Alam mo yun, na kahit nung time na yun, sabi ko, God, kahit hindi ako pinapayagan ng parents ko na, ay nga, umalis sa ganitong oras, ganyan kasi youth service or mag-church. Sabi ko, God, kasama ko naman kayo eh. Magko-quiet time ako. And looking back, that is the season na mas nag-grow ako personally sa relationship ko kay God. Kasi all that I need to receive, all that I need to hear, I get it directly from the Lord. And I hope na, ay nga, in life as well, when you are faced with disappointments, when God asks us to surrender some things in our life, I hope that let's trust God's grace to surrender those things. Kasi it may not make sense right away at that time, but iba yung wisdom ni Lord. Like, let's trust His heart na He knows what He's doing. He always have the best interest para sa atin. And next slide po. All that we need to do is just to really look to God. Like no other things that we need to think of or what. Kasi sometimes that's what's more frustrating eh, when we're trying to make sense. And I was that kind of person na parang bago ko gumalaw, gusto ko ayos muna. Yung parang sigurado muna ako. So it was hard talaga na God really challenged my faith, na binuild up niya yung faith ko. So from a place of unbelief, shame, worry, and insecurity from that season, God mold my heart na maging fully committed sa journey to build up my faith and character. So from that place, God taught me that all that I should invest even more is on my faith and character. Why? Because I realized that more than like trying to make things work or maayos sa buhay ko on my own, God is more to the woman that I am becoming, like the person that I am becoming. Like, what if, niisip ko, what if kung, ay nga, sino without like, alam mo yun, like hindi alam ng magulang ko or ako lang, like on my own way. I think it would not matter and it would not please God pa din. Like, what's important for him was my heart. And I believe as a student, that is the best season that God can build up your faith and your character. Estudyante ka man like senior high or college, hindi sayang yung season na yan. Like, I believe your season as a student goes beyond the things that you need to do as a student. But my prayer is that, like God, like we talk to God, we ask God, like, what are the things that I can learn from this and all. I hope na ay nga, you would learn to ask yourself, ask God as well. Like sa mga bagay na ginagawa natin. Kasi, di ba, ay nga, being student, it's really hard. It's really difficult. So, but if we try to surrender, if we learn to surrender everything to God, like maybe, ay nga, nahihirapan ka sa subject na to, ask God, God, what is something that you wanted me to learn from this? God, what do you want me to learn out of this disappointments in my life? So no matter or however it would look like for you right now, I hope that we would not give up on that aspect on your journey. Kasi it is really worth it if we trust God to build up our faith and our character. And that's one thing na I appreciate to God na kung ano yung ginawa niya sa life ko. He taught me to humble myself. Eh nga, syempre papasuhan nung time na yun, ay papasuhan ko yung mga subject ko na binagsak ko. Ay nga, kung if not for him, I would be really insecure. Kasi mas bata pa yung mga mas younger na sahan yung kasabayan ko. Pero God used that. Kasi noon, like sabi ko, God, magagamit niyo lang ako kapag sa victory group, ganun, sa pagiging student leader. But little did I know, God used those insecurity or yung seemingly weakness ko para mas mapalapit ako sa mga classmate ko. Like, they considered me as the ate sa class, sa batch namin. So, that helped me to connect with them even more. So, yung thought na akala ko uh, would make me different or hindi mahihirapan ako to connect with my classmates. Though syempre, I know them because same course and all. Pero God used that season na mas makapag-build ako ng meaningful relationship to my classmates. And everything that I do, it has been more meaningful for me. Kahit simpleng sit work lang or what, mas masarap pala talaga mag-aral pag nandun si God sa life mo bilang estudyante. And I learned as well na, ay nga, learning apart from God talaga, it is futile. Like, not nonsense, but it's meaningless. Kasi, mas magiging prone ka na, ay, ito na lang yung routine ko, ganyan and all. But if we allow God to work in our life, if we invite God in our life as a student, things becomes, well, it will not make things easier for you. Pero iba yung assurance, iba yung encouragement, knowing that God is walking with you that time, knowing that God is the one who's holding your hand when things na mas masarap na lang muna umiyak bago gumawa ng gawain sa school and all. Naalala ko that as well that time, may classmates would tell me, Ate Stacy, di ka ba nahihirapan? Kasi uwian ka. Pwede ka namang mag-dorm. Ganyan. Pero sabi ko, hindi. Sabi ko, na-enjoy ko yung biyahe ko. Like 1.5 hour papasok. Kasi mas nakapag-quiet time ako. Ganyan. At the same time, I believe God is building my character na I should not alam mo yun, binabalewala lahat ng bagay, ganyan. Mas natutunan ko yung value ng oras, ganyan. Kasi noon, parang sakto-sakto lang ako lagi papasok. Pero mas natutunan ko na, ay nga, to schedule my time and all. Like, sabi ko, God, ang galing niyo talaga kung paano niyo inaayos yung life ng isang tao. So, sabi ko wala sa akin yun kasi nga mas na-enjoy ko yung doon nakakapagod. Pero one thing na I really appreciate to God, those years na nagbabiyahe ako ng malayo and late, may time na late ako umuwi kapag may klase ng 8 ang tapos. Tapos silang pa ako uwi. Never ako napahamak. Never ako nadukutan. Never ako nahipuan. Yung mga ganon, yung mga aksidente, yung mga those kinds. Sabi ko, God, grabe yung protection niyo sa akin. Kasi told me to go to this way na sometimes, nga, it's more difficult. If it means na kayo yung kasama ko, nandito yung blessing nyo. Nandito yung favor nyo. Nandito yung protection nyo. So, I hope na whatever it looks like for you right now, I hope that you would not give in to the temptation to take things the easier way, because it's more worth it to do things in God's way. It will not always come easy. Mahirap talaga. Sabi nga, mahirap maging Christian. Pero it is the best thing that could happen in your life, knowing na nga you have Jesus in your life. Mas sabi ko, God, mas na-enjoy ko yung pag-aaral ko. Yung last years ko nung college, parang hindi ko naramdaman na left out ba ako, God? Yung parang late na ba ako sa timeline ko, God? Hindi. Sabi na parang all his constant assurance to me that time was there. Anak, I am with you. Like, yung timeline mo, okay pa din. Like, there's nothing that was robbed of you. Like, all those things that nabaliwala ko. Sabi ko, God, hindi pa rin nabago yung plan ninyo sa akin. So I was really thankful and grateful to God for that looking back. Then next slide po. So balik tayo dun sa disappointment. Diba? Ay nga, kanina it tells us na our disappointment can be meant to point us up or to look back to God. Sabi ko gagabi, ano yung this? Ganyan. So I tried to, binaliktad, seed. Next slide po. When I search for the word seed, lumabas doon, it comes from the Latin term, which means sit, stay, live in place. Okay, seed means to sit, stay, live in place. So what does it mean? Next slide po. So it's an invitation to stay with God. Next slide. When Ate Kat was told me, like, ay nga, how to give, to share things, how to honor God as a student, I believe we can honor God by choosing to stay with Him and not giving up on ourselves and the process, no matter what crisis and disappointments we encounter along the way in our journey. God invites us to stay with Him. No matter how things are difficult for you right now, na ay nga, alam yung moments na parang gusto mo na ayaw mo na mag-aral or gusto mo na lang mag-give up. I believe God is honored. We can honor God by choosing to stay with Him. Na hindi natin i-give up yung process, hindi natin i-give up yung sarili natin. At the same, ultimately, let's not give up on what God can do in our life, yung plan niya. Because it is always worth it. It will be worth it to stay with God. Next slide. I am reminded of this verse. Next slide po. So this verse, for a day in your courts is better than uh
For a day in your courts is better than 1,000 elsewhere. I would rather be a doorkeeper in the house of my God than dwell in the tents of wickedness. For the Lord God is a sun and a shield. The Lord bestows favor and honor. No good thing does he withhold from those who walk uprightly. O Lord of hosts, blessed is the one who trusts in you. This is in Psalm 84. I forgot to write the text. But this verse reminded me na there's no really other place or in a position but just to really stay with God. Choosing to stay with Him, choosing Him in every decision that we need to do. Because look, ay nga, if I would just share my testimony once again, I survived college. I survived my ACADS only because of His grace. And just I want to highlight this part. No good thing does He withhold from those who walk uprightly. It's true because only God can really give us the opportunities, the blessings that we couldn't even imagine for ourselves if not for Him. And this ring true to my life because nung time na yon, ang gusto ko na lang din talaga maka-graduate lang. Like sabi ko, God, masaya na ako maka-graduate lang ako ng college. From a person sentiment na, ay nga, 9 years sa college, parang enough na sa akin, God, na mag-graduate sa college. But throughout those 2 years na natitira ko sa college, God has blessed me and open opportunities for me na makapag-internship ako sa international school nung time na yun, 'di ba kapag ay nga pag internship, usually nung what my friends or what my classmate would go to, okay na yan kahit saan. Basta mapasa natin or makapag-OJT na. Pero sabi ko, God, hindi. I want to be, I really prayed. Sabi ko, God, where do you want me to go? Saan ako makakapag-OJT? Where do you want me to spend my OJT? And being in I ended up not really ended up, but I believe this is God really leading me that time to spend my internship in IAS. IAS is an international school. Actually, it's an Adventist international school. But one thing that I appreciate is to have an experience of your faith and education being integrated together. And ang sarap ng pakiramdam na alam mo yun, yung as a Christian, as a disciple, na mas ma-experience mo na integrated yung faith into education. Sabi ko, parang it's one thing na I didn't even imagine myself wanting or dreaming of. Throughout those times as well na I had my internship, uh, before my internship, well, there are things as well that ay nga, remember when I said that it is worth it to choose God no matter what. That was the season as well na God asked me to surrender a relationship. I was in a relationship that time, but God called me to surrender that relationship. That time I didn't know. Of course, I didn't know why. Parang ayoko. Kasi sabi ko, God, yung faith ko, itong relationship na to galing sa inyo kasi hindi ko naman siya talaga hiningi na parang I am not thirsty to be in a relationship or so. Like, alam mo yun, yung wanted to be in a relationship. But I believe this person, ay nga, nakilala ko siya sa church. Kumbaga, para sabi ko, God, pwede na to. Yun na yun. Yung ideal na someday siya. Pero sabi ko, for that time, God asked me to surrender that thing. Sabi ko, God, it was really hard for me that time. But at the end of the day, God can make all things possible for us, no matter how hard it asks for us to surrender things by His grace. I had a lot of struggles that time, knowing na, ay nga, there are issues pa na, ay nga, parang iniwan ni Ate Stacy si ganito, ganyan, and all. Sabi ko, God, ang hirap. Kasi parang, ay nga, hindi naman nila alam yung story talaga. Only few people knows about it. The reason why I surrendered that relationship. And it was just really because I may not understand fully what the reason was that time, but all I know
na nasa isip ko that time, what's best important thing is just to really obey God that time. And through our obedience as well, if we allow ourselves to choose to trust God, to obey God, uh, this would enable Him to really give us things na, alam mo yun, open or bring us into situation or opportunities na ito talaga yung minimin niya for us. Next slide po. So this is what I meant when I shared earlier na learning itong part na to, itong thought na to nasa diary, nasa journal ko kasi siya. Na, it came to me nung internship days. Like God reminded me na ay nga mas masarap maging estudyante. It is more meaningful when God is with us, or God, we commit ourselves everything we need to do as a student if we commit it to God, knowing that gaining knowledge apart from knowing God first talaga is really futile. It's more meaningful, it's more kumbaga more meaningful to study, to be a student, yung spend natin yung season natin as a student if God is there with us fully. Next slide, please. So next point is that I wanted to share as well is that God invites us to stand firm in your faith. First one, to stay with God. The second thing, I believe God is reminding us this afternoon is to stand firm in our faith. We can honor God by standing firm in our convictions while protecting what God is working in our life. And that is your testimony. How would it look like? Looking back as a student, nung time na okay na ako sa ACADS ko, talagang nandun ka sa sitwasyon na, alam mo yun, tempted ka to cheat, kahit like, kunyari, sa quizzes and all, ganyan. Pero God proved Himself really faithful to me. Kasi ay nga, diba na-mention ko kanina, hindi kami best friend ng math. So, yung mga binagsak kong subject na algebra, trigo, kailangan ko pa rin siya talaga pasukan. Ganyan. So, napakagaling pa kasi ang naging section ko noon ay mga engineering students. So, Ate Kat, alam mo yun, na kapag parang kahit sabihin natin na same subject lang, iba yung approach kapag like yung major is different from yours. So, sabi ko, God, paano to? Like, kahit nag-aaral ka na, sabi ko, God, hirap pa din ako sa subject na to. Ganyan. Like, may time ang quizzes ko for over 15, ganyan, and all. Pero sabi ko, God, I don't want to cheat. Ayoko. Like, I refuse to cheat. Kasi, imagine, like, yung mga katabi ko na talagang isusubo na nila sa'yo yung sagot, ganyan. Eh, yung parang, ito na yung sagot, ganyan. Pero sabi ko, no. They would wonder why. Sabi ko, kasi ko, no. And sabi, maybe because, I believe that time na sabi ko, God, binigyan niya na ako ng ano ng chance na 'to, ng second chance. Ni-redeem niya na ako ng yung story ko na 'to, itong part, yung ACADS life ko. And I don't want to stay in it na parang, alam mo yun, kasi I desire na when day comes, nag-graduate ako, I would have this confidence knowing na it's not because of how good I am or excellent I am a student na ganyan. But it's really your grace who helped me, who sustained me na makagraduate ako. Ganyan. Nasabi ko, nung time na yon, syempre the teacher, your prof would ask, ano score mo, ganyan, ganyan. The names will be called. Proud ako na sasabihin ko yung score ko, 6. Kanya, 4 over 15. People would wonder, parang, nandiyan naman yung opportunity na mag-cheat, but ayaw mo. And I believe na, ay nga, being in online classes right now, I think it's more easier to cheat. Mas, mas compelled ang estudyante na mag-cheat. Kasi, ay nga, wala tayo sa classroom setting na nakikita ng teacher, ganyan. Like, you can turn in
work na gawa ng ni ganito, ganyan and all. But I hope na ay nga, we would not succumb, we would not compromise our faith, our conviction. Kasi what matters most really talaga is that who we are, kung sino tayo when no one is looking around. Like, and this is the challenge that I am giving to my students actually. Like, how can you be proud of? I hope na yung maging confidence mo at the end of the day na, ay nga, or at the end of the race na makakagraduate ka, is that God would be really honored na it is God who helped you, God made things possible that was hard for you, you know. Yung faith ko that time, sabi ko, God, papasa ako sa subject na 'to nang hindi ako nag-cheat. Kayo ng bahala. Like, hindi ko alam kung paano. 'Di ba? Hindi ko alam kung paano, God, and all. Oh, nag-aaral ka and all, pero it was still difficult for you. Pero sabi ko, God, my faith is at the end of the sem, pasado ako sa subject na 'to. And truth to be told, yeah, may mga wala akong binagsak na. Wala akong binagsak. It is really God. Sabi ko, oh, grabe kayo, God. Like, it is really you. Na it's beyond of what I can do. Na it's beyond of my capabilities. It's beyond of my knowledge. But it is really you who made things possible for me. And I hope that you would not me as a model, but you would just really look up to God. Look directly to God na God, mahirap 'to, di ko alam kung ano yung gagawin ko, but I would refuse the temptation to cheat. Because at the end of the day, pag natapos na 'to, kayo yung alam mo yun, yung kapag shinare mo siya, pag pinost mo sa Facebook yung picture mo, nag-graduate ka na, kumbaga, yung heart mo is that it's you know that it's really God that will be honored. You know, like you don't cheat your way up to the graduate you didn't cheat your way to the graduation. Kasi that's the temptation being a student na ay nga basta ang importante mapasa ko to kaysa sa di bali na ay nga nandaya ako or what. Kasi tawag nun, kumbaga what's more important talaga is yung process. How God is molding you in that process. And it would still point us back to trusting God. Sa maliit na bagay, sa malaking bagay, I hope that we would stand firm in your faith. Whatever convictions that God is placing in your heart, na alam mo yun, na si God yung nag-speak sa'yo, na ganito dapat, ganyan, 'di ba? I hope na ay nga, pangalagaan niyo yun. And when it's most difficult, God promises that His grace will always be available for us. Trust Him na when it comes to finances man yan, when it comes to studying, whatever it is for you as a student, stand firm in your faith, knowing that God is really faithful to fulfill His promises for us. Next slide po. God is worthy of our trust. God will never disappoint. His word still stands true. God's promises will deliver you and it will all come to pass. If there would be someone, and that is really my hope, na sabi ko, God, every time I would share my ACADS life, it is not me that will, yung bida. Kayo yon, God. Kasi kayo talaga. And I think that what makes my story more like worth telling to is because how God worked in my life, how God has been faithful. And as a student, no matter how it would look like for you, I believe God can do the same thing for you. I may not know in specific kung ano yung ay nga pinagdadaanan niyo as a student right now, what is difficult for you right now. But allow me to remind you that God is worthy of your trust. You don't na ay nga, let's not leave it as the last option, but let's run to God first in everything. And we don't have to like, have those pretend na kapag lalapit tayo kay God. Let's just be who we are. When we're tired, when we feel like giving up, lapit lang tayo kay God. Kasi that's one thing that I really thank God about as a father. Alam mo yun, yung lapit ka lang sa Kanya na hindi mo with you drop all the expectations, you drop all the sa tingin yung mga labels or responsibilities mo. just really come to your father with honesty and transparency, yeah. Because sometimes ay nga, we may have our friends and all, pero iba pa din yung iba pa rin yung comfort that God can give to us directly. Iba pa rin yun directly na manggagaling kay God. Next slide po. So these pictures somehow gives kagabi habang nagmumuni-muni nagka-quiet time, naiiyak ako talaga. Bukod sa fact na iyakin ako. Ang gawain ko kasi noon, mahilig ako mag-snap. Ayan, next slide po. Mahilig ako mag-snap nung season na yun, those last 2 years of my life. Sabi, etong picture na 'to, yung yung my girl na nakaganon, I just downloaded it from Pinterest. So for the last 2 years in my college, yan yung wallpaper ko. Sabi ko, God, kayo na bahala. So it gives me really encouragement every time na nakikita ko siya. And this verse as well, Philippians 1:6, that's one thing that kept me going. Really, yan talaga yung isa sa promises na pinangahawakan ko. Na whatever that God has started to do in my life, God will really complete it. And specific ako na unlike before, parang hindi ko pa siya maklaim na parang, God, may kasiguraduhan pa ba ako na makakatapos ako? I was specific na sabi ko, God, I am trusting you. Batch 2019, gagraduate ako. Kayo yung magpo-provide ng finances, kayo agad yung tutulong sa akin sa ACADS and everything. You will be the one to work all things together for my good. This was the last registration form I had nung college, and I still keep it in my closet. Next slide po. So from that, and next slide, and I graduated just last year, May 2019, and the graduation was held 4 days before my birthday. Nasabi ko, God, grabe kayo. I believe it's not an accident na ay nga, yun yung araw na yon and all. And what's more meaningful is that I am even more excited for my parents, for my family that day more than me graduating. Kasi it was really for them. Kumbaga parang ang galing ni God to redeem the story, and si God pa rin yung gumawa ng way all throughout those 2 years na na-build yung relationship ko pa din sa parents ko. So, of course, I had to work on getting their trust again. But when I chose to trust and obey God that time, even when it's difficult for me, mas ginamit niya yung season na yun na mas naging close ako sa family ko, yung faith, mas nakita nila how God has moved in my life. Na, ay nga, no matter how unfaithful I was, disobedient that time, unbelieving that time, God is really good. And that's one thing that I really thank God about. Kasi yung story na yun, it's not just me graduating, but nakita I see it na binild up ni God yung momentum na nung time na nasa stage ako or what, me graduating, there are more people involved na mas nakita nila na ay nga, kung gaano ka-faithful si God sa life ko. Even though that what has happened to me, that was what I did before. And it's amazing na, ay nga, I got those time as well, mas naging open ako sa parents ko, mas naging open ako sa faith ko about kay God, to them, kung paano ako makipag-usap sa mga friends sa church kasi noon hindi ko siya nagagawa. Kumbaga parang medyo nahihiya-hiya pa ako mag-share sa family ko that time. But then God used those season, yung pruning, building of faith and character. God used those season as well relationship with my family and my with my parents. Next slide.
So it was very special for me nung time na ay nga nung nag-graduate ako. Like sabi ko, God, iba yung joy sa heart ko. Talagang feel ko na nag-graduate ako. Iba yung joy talaga. And after that, I didn't I thank God because I didn't had to wait that long. But God made the way to, though I believe every graduate would every graduate student would experience yung anxiety na saan ba ako makakapagtrabaho, like makaka-apply ba ako agad, matatanggap ba ako agad, and all. Normal yun na ma-experience yun ng mga tao na ay nga kaka-graduate lang. Pero sabi ko, God, kayo nang bahala. Yung confidence ko lang talaga is that you have reserved a place for me already. You have taught me na it's more than just work that could give me salary. It's a ministry. It's a ministry na before kasi nandun din yung heart ko to really go full-time campus missionary. But then, God made me realize na it's not just, well, it's good to be called as a campus missionary full time, but I was so limited. My understanding was so limited before na akala ko yun lang talaga yung option to be in the campus, to be used by God in the campus. Little did I know God has called me. God will call me to go full time sa campus as not as a campus missionary, but to be a guidance coordinator. And I believe ay nga, God made it more clear to me nung bago ako like 2 or 3 months bago ako mag-graduate. Clear talaga yung direction sa akin ni God that time na Stacy, sa school, sa academy kita tatawagin, yun, and all. Sabi ko, God, I really owe it all to you na all along I feel that I was guided. No, it's the student life is still difficult, but I could feel that I am really guided by you all along with the decisions that I need to make, kung saan ako mag-a-apply. Like, maybe I could share that some other time, but sabi ko, God, thank you na, ay nga, it was, you didn't had me na patagalin yung pag-wait ko kasi like two not two, like 1 month, less than a month after graduating, nakapag-apply na ako and natanggap ako right away sa work na, ay nga, sa school na pinagtatrabahuan ko right now. And ang galing ni God kasi like this from the this school na pinagtatrabaho, there's still better options, better high paying schools. But one thing that gives me guarantee or confidence. So sabi ko, God, doon ako kung saan niyo ako tinatawag. Kung doon ako kung saan niyo. And that's one thing na pinlant ni God sa heart ko na one thing that made me think as well. I remember there's an opportunity to work like sa ministry or what. Pero sabi ko, God, pakiramdam ko mas tinatawag niyo ako, mas nandun yung need sa, alam mo yun, sa field kung saan maraming lost people, kung saan nandun yung burden sa akin. So sabi ko, God, dun ako susunod. And truth to be told, ay nga, the work I have right now, I don't really like see it as, actually, mas ramdam ko lang siya na work pag yung mga clerical jobs, yung ay nga, facing sa laptop. Pero every time na pagkausap ko yung mga estudyante, ganyan, nandun, I get the same joy that I had nung nasa campus ministry pa lang ako. And I thank God because all the things that I need to I think what gave me edge sa trabaho ko ngayon is the things that I learned as a student nung nasa campus ministry ako. Nung time na, alam mo yun, bilang estudyante ako. And that's what I'm trying to mean na the things na pwede mong matutunan sa estudyante as a student, this season of your life right now, this is the thing that you will really bring with you more than the things na matututunan mo by the books. But I hope na, ay nga, yung season mo right now, yung building up of character and all, yun yung importante. That's what will sustain you pag nasa trabaho ka na. It's not about you being ready na, ay, saka na lang ako magtitino, magsaseryoso pag nandun ako sa work. But really, ay nga, sabi nga nila, kung sino ka as a student, most likely that's the kind of worker that you will be, employee you would be. So kung ano yung study habits mo, kung paano yung kung gaano ka committed, how you strive to be responsible sa task no matter how small that is, I think hindi yun malayo kung magiging sino ka kapag naging employee ka na. So, next slide po. So, ang iba yung joy na sabi ko, God, it's more meaningful na ang sarap sa pakiramdam talaga na, ay nga, binalik mo pa din ako sa campus. Binalik mo pa din ako sa first, kumbaga nandun yung heart ko, nandun yung joy ko, na I had to set aside campus ministry man for a season nung time na yon na I had to focus on my ACADS. But still, you gave me the opportunity to go full time because I will work pala sa campus. And little did I know, it is, remember when I said, sabi ko, God, okay na ako pag makagraduate lang ako. Pero God challenged my faith once again to study. So, I am pursuing graduate studies as well right now because yung goal namin, yung faith goal namin ni God is to really become a licensed counselor. So in order for that to happen, of course, it's unlike being a psychometrician na I can take the board exam right away after graduating. But if if you share ko lang, if you would really pursue to be a counselor, you need to finish your masters muna. So sabi ko, God, nung time na, ay nga, pinlant ni God yung sa heart ko yung time na yun. Sabi ko, I was excited. Pero sabi ko, God, kayo ng bahala. Kasi nung sabi ko, God, yung sweldo ko, sabi ko parang, paano God? At hindi po mura mag-aral muli. Lalo sabi ko, God, kayo ng bahala. Kasi ayoko na talaga humingi ng support sa parents ko. Sabi ko, God, kayong bahala mag-provide and all. And it's amazing how God really make all things work for me kung paano ako nakapag-enroll. And ayun, I am pursuing my master's degree sa guidance and counseling sa AUP right now. Though I am not currently enrolled this semester, but I just finished one sem last year. Yeah, last year. And sabi ko, God, nung time na nag-enroll din ako, sabi ko, akala ko pwede lang siya down payment, like 2K, 5K, ganyan. Unlike before nung college, yun pala required full in cash. Sabi ko, nung nakita ko yung price, sabi ko, God, di ko alam, saan to manggagaling, God. Pero, all the people, God use, next slide po, God use people to support me. Well, remember nung nasa IAS ako, I had my internship. I really had one of the counselor there as my like mother, naging mentor ko siya. So she vouched to support me sa masters ko, to support me that semester para makapag-enroll ako. And this verse, I want to highlight this verse. This is one of the promise that God gave to me uh, during the last year of my college, na ito talaga yung pinangahawakan ko, Psalm 32:8. It says there, I will guide you along the best pathway for your life. I will advise you and watch over you. God promises that to guide us along the best pathway for our life. And He promised to advise us and watch over us. Next slide po. And every time na I am reminded of this verse, naalala ko tong mga taong to in my life, ang aking mga ates, you see Ate Kat there, these are the people who invested in my life as a student na, alam mo yun, no matter during the moments that I don't believe in myself or yung nagda-doubt ako sa plans ni God sa life ko and all, God used these people to point me back to to God. And I just want to just highlight the blessing of being in a community talaga, or having people to guide you, to mentor you, you know, kasi we can learn from them. Like it's a blessing to have these people, spiritual leaders in our life na ayun nga, sabi nga, 'di ba, Christian faith is not meant to walk alone, like on our with ourselves lang, but well, there may be season na ayun nga, God may call you na kayong dalawa lang and all. But iba din na kapag nasa community tayo, church community. And I just want to appreciate each one of you, knowing, ay nga, the fact that you choose to spend your time, to invest your time sa ganitong mga events, is that you are investing to the person that you wanted to become. And I hope and pray that you would find people, you would have people in your life uh, that would guide you. And can I just say that these people na nakilala ko nung estudyante ako, they are still with me right now, na kahit working na ako and all. These are the people that supports me, that guides me, and really mentor me. Different aspect of my life. And masasabi ko, every time na pag nakikita ko yung mga picture namin na ganito, talagang naiiyak ako kasi sabi ko, God, they are expression of your love for me, of your, of your grace to my life. Next slide po. So remember when, ayun nga, sa disappointment. Next slide. It says there, stay. The word, the term, the Latin term, seed, means stay. And remember the verse Psalm 32:8. I tried to search for its TPT version. Actually, I got the idea to search for the TPT version nung nakita ko yung snap ni Ate Kat showing yung PubMat. Then yung may verse doon, I think Proverbs yun, Ate TPT. Sabi ko, I tried to search for it. Tapos nung lumabas siya, napagasp na naman ako. Sabi ko, God, ang galing nyo. Kasi sabi ko, the fact that I saw the word stay. Sige, basahin muna natin siya in TPT version. It says there, I hear the Lord saying, I will stay close to you, instructing and guiding you along the pathway for your life. I will advise you along the way and lead you forth with my eyes as your guide. Napakaganda ng word ni God. Like, iba yung God's word really is alive and true, na yung word ni God, it's really sufficient to sustain us whatever seasons in life we may have. Estudyante man kayo ngayon, hanggang sa ay nga, makagraduate na kayo, hanggang sa maging young professional na kayo. I hope na everything na kung ano yung ini-invest sa inyo ni God, yung promises niya, you would really hold dearly. You will hold really firm to it, because it's one thing that no one can rob from you, more than all the things that we are learning in school, of course. Iba yung message na galing directly from God. And this verse, Psalm 32:8, actually, I had it posted sa yung painting na pinakita ko kanina. I had it commissioned to a friend. And sabi ko, nung time na nagkaroon ako ng sarili kong office sa school, sabi ko, God, I want it to be really posted sa wall, because I want every day to be reminded kung sino yung kasama ko sa journey, sino yung nag-deliver sa akin nung season na yon na I was a disappointment of myself, sino yung nag-deliver sa akin, nag-sustain sa akin bilang estudyante, at sino yung nagdala sa akin kung saan ako ngayon. And the same person that would sustain me right now sa work ko, it will be you. And that verse is always a conversational piece na every student would visit sa school, sa office, or every parent. Sabi ko, God, use this word, use these opportunities, even simple as that, na nakapost. I want to be intentional, na not just me being reminded, but people na mamimit ko na to point them back to you as well, to be reminded that more than me, more than the invitation, God is telling us to stay with Him all along. It's not about me, how I stick closer to God, but it's really God who stayed with me all throughout those times. And I hope that you are being reminded as well to this afternoon na though there may be time that it feels like ay nga, ang hirap, you're alone, you feel like you're the only one who's struggling. Please be reminded that it is God who is staying with you. Si God yung mag-i-stay sa'yo all throughout of your life. He will never leave you. He will never leave your side. He will never forsake you, and that's His promise to guide you, to instruct you. So if you are worrying, dagdag pa sa mga current worries mo as a student, yung mga deadlines, sometimes may thought na, God, makakagraduate ba ako? God, may lugar ba ako pag-graduate ko sa college or what? Makapagtrabaho ba ako? Let this promise given by God rest in your heart this afternoon. Na He will make all things will just make sense to you when that season comes. I promise it to guide you. Kung saan ka man, called ni God, mag-serve after as a student, it will make sense to you. Uh, because it's His promise na, ay nga, stay ka lang sa Kanya, to abide with Him, knowing that apart from God, we can really do nothing. Like, we cannot do anything apart from God. Yes, we can achieve things, but I believe it's more fruitful, it's more meaningful if God is there along with us and if we commit our work to God. The next slide po. So, this is my last slide. I hope na every time from starting this afternoon, every time you would see the word disappointment, you will be reminded of this. When dealing with life's disappointments, you can always go back to God and claim His promises for you. I believe it's not an arrogance, but a declaration of faith. So when that time comes na it's hard for you, balik ka lang kay God. Pray ka, sabi mo, I believe this message came to me nung time na, ay nga, parang nanganganib makagraduate ako. Pero sabi ko, God, hindi promise nyo na, ay nga, provide kayo and all. Balik ka lang kay God. Remind yourself kung ano yung word niya, kung ano yung promise niya. It's not being arrogant in the presence of God, but I believe that is faith. Na, God, you promise na ganito eh. You promise na you would provide for my need. You promised me to give me wisdom when I needed it. And you will not rebuke me kung manghihingi ako. And you promised me to give me courage when I needed it. All those things na binigay sa'yo ni God, binibigay sa'yo ni God as a promise, remind yourself with that in His presence or anywhere you are, whatever you are doing, remind yourself of that. It's a declaration of faith. Remind yourself, it's a declaration of faith. And and it's a reminder as well na that's what pleases God the most, 'di ba? When we trust in Him. It's not a well, it's good to be ay nga, excellent yung grades natin and all that if we strive for that. But what pleases God all the more is our faith. When we trust in Him, no matter how difficult it would be, that's what pleases God all the more. And all I could imagine is that when we trust God that way, iba yung ngiti ni God sa kanya, sa puso niya. Iba yung ngiti ng I call him Abba, 'di ba? We call him Abba, we can call him Abba. Or nung estudyante ako, I call him Itay. So, I believe that's what put God's smile in his face. And I believe since most of us here are ladies, that's what makes us even more beautiful ladies when we trust God. It's not about anything, any other thing, but it's our faith that could, that is more attractive. It's what makes us more beautiful when we trust God. So I think that's the end. Thank you for listening, everyone.